Okay, reefers, so this week I want to talk about dosing and what we're dosing this reef tank. So, dosing, big subject, can easily be misunderstood and get confused with everything, especially for new reefers. I do try and do these videos to appeal to advanced reefers and experienced reefers, to new guys and people that aren't experienced with it. Now, dosing is one of those subjects with reefing that can be very daunting and can put a lot of new people off. But once you get a handle on it, get your head around an understanding of what elements are in seawater and what it takes to run a successful reef and keep the corals thriving, then it's one of those things that takes you to the next level. Once you understand it all and you can get it right and dial it all in, you're going to have success. Now, over the years, I've tried many different types of dosing the reef tank. And obviously we're all still learning, I'm still learning, but the basics of it is that we've got to keep the 70 odd trace elements within this water at their premium ratios and at the right levels, so the corals can use it down properly. The problem is over time, if you don't dose and you've got many corals, especially SPS corals, these elements get depleted, so we have to replace them. Now with this tank I've gone a slightly different route. What I have been using over the past few years with my most recent reef tanks, if you follow the videos, is the Red Sea Reef Foundation elements, bought in powder formation and mix up myself, and dosing calcium, alkalinity, magnesium separately. Now going back to what's in salt water, there is like 70 odd trace elements, 70 odd elements within salt water. The major elements being your calcium, your alkalinity, magnesium, and there's many more that make it up. Some are more important than others, and but the most important thing is to keep all these elements at the right level. Now over time your corals will use more than others. Every tank is different depending on what you're keeping within the tank, so that's the trick, to try and juggle it to keep everything as stable and as the right levels as possible. So with this tank, I wanted to keep it really simple, everything as simple as I possibly can, believe it or not. And you know, the first year, 2 years is an experiment just to see how you're going to manage it and what road you're going to go down, and see how everything pans out, really, to see how you can keep everything in line. But so what I tried to do with this tank is, like I say, keep it simple, and obviously monitoring the major elements and try and keep on top of all the trace elements. Now there's no way you can test for every single element. Obviously you're going to test your major elements, your calcium, your alkalinity, magnesium, and a few maybe trace elements, but let's face it, you really don't know where your trace elements are at any one time. The only way you're going to know is by sending a water sample off to have it ICP tested, and that comes back with an analysis of exactly what's in the water, what levels it's at. Now, I don't fancy doing that every couple of 3 weeks or so, or every month, and you know, it's a costly thing, and you never really know where you are. You're constantly trying to dose in different stuff. So the best way to do it is to blanket dose the whole tank with all of the elements as much as you can. But the trouble is with that is you don't want them going too high and too low. You don't really know where they are. So like I say, the best way is to blanket dose all of it, but consistently try and consistently adjust them, maybe levels going out of line by doing water changes. So with this tank, what I decided to do is just use an all-in-one dosing solution. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod and show you down in the sump all the stuff that I dose. Like I say, I like to try and keep it simple, and there's a lot of new products coming on the market now that provide a one solution to dosing. So it's just one solution that does everything: your calcium, your alkalinity, your magnesium, and all of your trace elements all in one dose, which makes it much easier because it doses it all the right ratios. The trouble is obviously the tank will consume different things at different rates. So the tank can eventually go out of whack with some of the elements. But my solution to that is to do a 25% water change every week to try and level everything out as much as possible. And things are working out well. So I'm going to take you into the sump now and show you exactly what I'm dosing. Okay, so this is the engine room, the sump where all the filtration is. Now, I have got a 3-channel doser here. As you can see, there's only one line hooked up to one dose container, and that has got in it a solution pre-mixed from a powder from a company called Tropic Marine, and it's the ever popular at the moment and gaining popularity every month really as people sort of discover it, and it's called Reef. And this is this one-stop solution for everything: calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, and all trace elements. Now you might think, well, this is a magic potion that literally does it all for you, and you don't have to worry about anything. Yes, it does, but there are drawbacks. Like I said, you're blanket dosing everything all in one ratio, and every tank is different, and your tank will consume things at different rates. So as good as it is, you have to do water changes to sort of compensate for that. And for this tank, I don't really want to be doing 25% water change every week, but the simplicity of this dosing, keeping everything at the right ratio, I think it's worth doing, to be honest. And also with the 25% water change every week, it keeps on top of your nutrients as well. It exports nutrients. So yeah, brilliant product. Say this is unscripted and unplanned, this video, unedited. I was just trying to think of everything I can advise you on with it. Give it a go. I've been running this tank now for nearly 10 months, and this has been run on all for Reef, this system, since the start. And so far I'm very, very impressed. Again, it's very, very simple. Basically I dose according to my alkalinity consumption. The trouble is with it, like I said before, your tank consumes at slightly different rates. So I find running my alk around the 9 to 10 is my calcium and magnesium are quite elevated all the time. They're around the 500 calcium and 1500 magnesium. So the way I combat that to bring those other levels down is obviously the 25% water change does bring those back into check. As for the trace elements, again, we're blanket dosing because it's got everything in it. So the 25% water change again should level those elements out as well. And the corals seem very, very happy, and we're getting good growth from most stuff. So far so good. I say it's early days, but 10 months in, I'm quite happy. So the other thing I'm using, the other products I'm using from Tropic Marine again. So that's all your dosing for your major elements and your trace elements. Now we're going to talk about nutrients and what I dose to control my nutrients. And of recent, I've been using all these products over the sort of 10 months. The first one is this. This is a carbon source, Lemon NP. Basically, it's the most aggressive carbon dose solution you can get from Tropic Marine, and it rapidly brings your phosphates and your nitrates down. So that's good if they're high, which this tank has been of recent, and we've used that to bring them down. And the other end of the scale is this product by Tropic Marine, and it is called Plus NP. So that's if you're at the other end, you're struggling to get phosphates and nitrates into the system, and you want to bring them up. This is another carbon dose that basically is for tanks that are struggling for nutrients. It adds nitrate and phosphate with a little bit of carbon dosing as well, very mild. The next product is this, and it's Np-Bacto Balance. So it's when you've got your nutrients where you want them, your nitrate and phosphate at the right levels, sort of where you want to keep them, you dose this in, and it doses in it balances out the nitrates and phosphates and puts a carbon dose in at the same time. But the trouble is with this product, the reason why I can't really use it, you can't really use it with all for Reef. And the reason being is they add in into this solution as well, the K elements, which is quite annoying because it means that you're putting in more trace elements than what you're needing really. This product's really for tanks that are using Tropic Marine's 2-part solution, or carbo-calcium, which is alkalinity and calcium in the same solution, and then you add in the A elements and you rely on this to add in the K elements. So if you look up on Tropic Marine's website, you'll get a better handle of it, and look at all their different products. That's the only annoying with this. So why they put that in, that's quite annoying for me, because I'd like to run that as well as this, but like I say, I'd be overdoing a certain amount of the trace elements. Now, this other one is just amino acids, amino organics, so not really related to dosing really as such. I'm not really using that. It's like a coral food. It's just so the corals get some aminos. So yeah, that's as much as I can get in this time for this video really on what I'm dosing. This does change from week to week. Obviously I'm monitoring stuff. At the moment we're not dosing any carbon dosing whatsoever, because I've got the nutrients sort of where I want them. I'm sort of just trialing now just to see if I can keep my nitrates and phosphates, which are currently at 2 ppm nitrate and 0.9 on my phosphate, I believe. Yeah, just below the 1. So that's really where I want them. Maybe bring the phosphate down a little bit more. I'm running some Roaphos in a bag here, the power head angling at it, which has helped to bring my phosphates down. But yeah, we just again, it's first year or two, it's just a matter of tweaking and dialing in the system as best you can. Put the filter on. Yeah, so that's what I'm dosing this tank. I thought I'd just give you a quick video. So it's just off the cuff really. Thought I'd just pick the phone up and give you a little show, explain what I'm chucking in this tank. Any questions, comments, drop in the box below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe and the bell notification. Hit a thumbs up, that really helps me out guys. And I'll catch you in the next one.